All right, Donovan Mitchell joins us. Open to questions. We'll start with Chris Camerani.
Donovan, uh, how do you go about balancing the appearances and the necessary offseason stuff that comes with being a superstar in this league versus getting into the gym and refining your game?
The difference between, I would say, last summer and this summer is I have my schedule already mapped out, and I won't share it, but I could tell you what I'm doing between next month and the start of the regular season. So that's really where it starts, having a plan, having an idea of what you want to do. Last year was kind of, the whole year itself was unexpected, and then you're just kind of just there making trips and doing things because, one, you want to be a 21-year-old and enjoy your first summer being in the NBA, and then you also have to deal with the phenomenon of what happened this past season, and it was just a lot to handle. And then on top of that, I was hurt, so you got all those things going on, and it's just kind of, it wasn't, I don't think I handled it great. Obviously there are things I would love to do better, but, it's all part of the learning experience. You can't, like I said yesterday, you can't like succeed without failures. You can't go through things without having to experience them. So this summer, I think it's been a lot easier for me. I think I have a better idea of what I want to do, how I want to accomplish that. My trips aren't the same. I'm not going to China twice. But, I think I have a better understanding, and it won't be perfect, and then next year it'll be this, get better, and I think that's pretty much where you can go.
Knowing how tough you are on yourself, man, how did you feel like, this season was for you? How would you evaluate the season as a whole, your second year?
I haven't gotten there. It was tough, man. I think if I had to say myself, I only had a good few months. if you, that's me talking to myself, but I'm not share that with y'all. But I think there's a lot that I can improve on, and I appreciate this season in so many ways because through all the struggles I went through all the struggles we went through as a team, we had 50 wins and we're in the fifth seed. When we battled the Houston Rockets really, really good. And like I said, this summer is a big summer for not just me but for all of us. I think we're gonna get in much better shape, much better. Guys are gonna get better in different things, and I think we all know now after 2 years, you understand. It gives you a better understanding because 1 year doesn't really define you, and you get another year you are allowed to see, what guys need to work on, what we need to fix, and I think for me, being healthy today is huge. You're not walking in here in a boot, like I was last year. That changes a lot, and I think it allows me to kind of be at ease, and just be like, all right, like I know if I wanted to go work out, I can, and not be like restricted. I think that's huge for my mental capacity, and just being able to go out there and just work on whatever it needs to be and staying in shape.
John, here in the front row.
Dennis Lindsay indicated that the team's going to be aggressive in pursuing free agents and trying to find the best pieces to bring into the team next season. From your perspective, what would be your sales pitch in bringing the free agents to Utah?
I said a lot of that last year. My thing is, look, we have the Defensive Player of the Year. You have myself who's still finding ways to get better. We have an amazing group. We have a bunch of guys who love to work, and unselfishly love to work. I think you look at a guy like Derek Favors, his impact throughout my 2 years here, and obviously I've seen it longer than I have, but his impact and willingness to, not play as many minutes but still be impactful. You got guys like Georges Niang going crazy on the end of the bench for a whole month and then coming in the playoffs and attacking and being the same killer he's been since I've known him in high school, So it goes from top to bottom. We have a bunch of guys who are unselfish, wanting to play, and, if I had to pitch it, just be like, look, we want to win, and we don't care about the individual stuff. And you look at a team like, the Spurs when they had Tony, Manu, Tim Duncan. Not saying we're the Spurs, but like you look at the unselfishness, you look at the camaraderie that they had. I think we have something very similar here, and I think that's not the same throughout the entire league. And I'm always, it sounds redundant. I've been saying that for a while, but it's the truth. You know, it's like a college atmosphere. You feel like, you know, you go with your friends, you know, and you're just playing the game you love. And I think that's how it should be. And then when it comes to winning time, we got guys who are ready to go out there and fight.
Attendant with that, Donovan, a lot of the players who have come through here have said that your humility as a leader is contagious through this team. Are you guys really friends? I mean,
Yeah.
How tight are you guys?
Better go watch the Avengers tonight. I'll tell you that. So that kind of puts it in perspective for you. You know, a bunch of us are going like, you know, the season's over, and you know we're still hanging out. You know, like we're like I said, I've never been so close to a team. And when I was told coming into the league, like, you know, you had guys that weren't always there to be your friend. It's a business. Like at the end of the day, this is a business. You know, and it can be treated that way, or you can treat it like how we treat it. And I think it's better this way. It's better when guys, you know, genuinely care for each other. Whether it's Ricky, Joe, myself, Royce, Raul, like we can go up and down the list. Guys genuinely care about each other. You know, we had a dinner the night before the Houston game, you know, as a whole team. Guys love just being around each other, being around this community, and I think it's a really special bond that we have.
When Ricky was in here, he said that when he comes into the gym and he thinks he's a hard worker, he often finds you there already working on something or other. I guess my question is, why do you work as hard as you do?
Because I wasn't expecting to be here, and I really don't want to lose this. I mean, to be honest, like this is the greatest thing in my life. You know, I'm playing basketball. You know, I don't know what else. Like, you know, I'm not to say school's bad, but you know, you gotta. Sometimes college, you got class, then you gotta go to practice, then you got study hall, then you gotta go back to finish your final. Like, no, the only thing I could do is play basketball. You know what I mean? As a kid, my favorite subject was recess. Why? Because I could go play basketball. Like, you know, so as a 22-year-old kid now, to have all that come full circle it's a blessing. You know, and I think it's one thing to make it to the NBA and to be drafted. It's one thing to make the playoffs your first year, the one thing to make your playoffs your second year. But if you want to be great, you know, you want to be someone who's really talented in this league, you got to continue to work. And I take pride in being the first one here. I challenge myself. Like, if I see somebody there, somebody gets me, it's usually like Tabo and Royce and Epe, like those guys. So and Ricky as well. I try to wake up earlier, just like to keep that edge, and not just with them, but just with myself. You know, find ways to get better in every little aspect.
Question on this side from Ryan. You mentioned how much you guys like each other. How difficult is it to think that this whole group might not be together again next year?
I think it's tougher for the guys like myself, Royce, Tony, like guys who haven't seen it as much. You know what I mean? Obviously, it happened with Rodney and AB, but you know, it's one of those things that you look in. Like I said, it's a business, you know, and I love my teammates to death. I still love Rodney and AB, even though they're not here. We still talk on a daily basis. But you know, I think that bond that we have is very special, and I think it's one that'll be here whether you're here or not here. But you know, it's not going to be an easy one. You know, it's not going to be an easy one. But you know, I think guys, and I credit the guys that we have. You know, that everybody understands what this is. You know, because you could be, you know, it could be taken a different way. But guys understand what it is and how this business works, and you know, they're not going to stop working hard. They're not going to stop being who they are just because, you know, they may not be here. Or who, like, you look at a guy like Fave, he's been, all the time I see him on Twitter, he puts the same emoji to, like, the trade talks, like, you know, and he's the hardest, like, he's one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. And for me as a young guy, you see that, and it's just the most professional thing in the world. And, you know, you gain a lot of respect for guys like especially when I see Fave like that, you know, I gain a lot of respect for guys when they go through, you know, the talks and whatnot.
Last question from Eric.
Now, even through the criticism, you know, yesterday, you know, right after the game, you had Dwyane come to your support. You know, that's a big brother to you, a mentor. How did that feel yesterday, man? Even though it was a tough loss, a tough game on your end, to still have one of the all-time greats, you know, still encourage you and let you know that you headed in the right path?
It means the world. You know, if you would have told me 3 years ago that Dwyane Wade was going to be talking about let's work out over the summer after, you know, a tough loss, I wouldn't believe you. You know, it's still one of those things that's kind of surreal, but at the end of the day, he's right. We got work to do. You know, and this is going to be huge for me, just from a confidence standpoint, from just to getting my mind, my body right. And you're looking at guys, you know, we're competing against guys like James Harden, Chris Paul, you know, all those guys. And if I want to be like those guys, I got to work and train like those guys. And I think that's where it starts. And like I said, it's always a blessing. But I'm not here for the criticism no more. You know, I'm off that, to be honest with you. Like, you know, if last year I would say I'd probably looked for a little bit more, but this year it's more so like people are gonna say what they're gonna say. You know, like they're not here on a daily basis. They don't see how hard myself and the team works, and that's what I've gotten between years 1 and 2 as far as my mental, you know, off the floor. But you know, I'm really excited to get to work and you know do what I got to do. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.